Hey, this is Steven Platinum, your friend in wrestling with Platinum versus AEW Dark. It was a special Saturday night edition so they could get it in before the pay-per-view. It took place on, I want to say, March 6, 2021. For those that are first-time listeners, which I seem to be picking up new listeners every week, which is amazing. Thank you for that. I grade all the matches on a 3-check system. For the squash matches, or what I like to call the foregone conclusion matches, the 3 check marks go as follows. If the right person is put over, and they're put over in a memorable way, you get the first check. Now you're saying, Steve, when would that not happen since AEW doesn't do screw finishes? An example would be Leva Bates as the librarian using kind of roll-ups to win matches. It's not convincing enough, and it's not definitive enough that you would go, okay, I want to see Leva Bates on Dynamite, right? So that's an example of somebody who's in the past has not gotten that first check. Now the second check mark happens if the person who wins looks great in the process. That often happens. That is the point of most of the dark matches. And then you get that third check mark if the person who is losing the match, the enhancement talent jobber, if you will, if they look good in the process, or if they're allowed to have significant offense by the person who is beating them. And then for matches, of which only one qualifies in this one, it would be the main event between the Chaos Project and Matt and Mike Seidel. Those are graded on a slightly different scale. They get 1 check mark if both parties look good. They get a second check mark if a team is put over, or the person is put over in this competitive venture in a convincing, memorable fashion. And then a third check mark if something is advanced, story-wise or character-wise or whatever, that can translate to Dynamite. Make sense? Let's hit it. This was a little over an hour and a half show, which to me is perfectly reasonable, and 12 matches, and then a segment or 2 thrown in. That is a perfectly reasonable AEW Dark to me. Now, in a couple of weeks, they're splitting the show with a Monday night and a Tuesday night. I don't know what that's going to mean time-wise, but I imagine it'll be it's a much more enjoyable product to take in when it tends to run shorter. That's what I'm saying. First match, Natural Nightmares against Avalon, Peter Avalon and Benoni. Dustin joins the ranks of great hot tags. Boy, it's not only is he physically adept, even at whatever age he is, but man, he just knows where to be and how to be there. QT certainly did a serviceable job as the Ricky Morton in this match, getting beat up for a little while before the hot tag. And then the Natural Nightmares finished them off with a Bulldog. Perfectly good, serviceable match. I'll give it 3 check marks. Oh, and another thing I usually pick an enhancement person to be enhancement talent of the week. Does that matter, Steve? You're damn right, because everybody I have ever picked more than once for an enhancement talent of the week has gotten fucking signed. Yes. Second match, JD Drake against Chuck Taylor. JD Drake, I'll just tell you right now, spoiler alert, is our talent of the week. Really great stuff against Chuck Taylor. He's had nothing but good matches, but he helped pull a great match out of Chuck Taylor. That awful waffle off of the ropes looked great. 3 check marks. JD Drake is our talent of the week, though there is a notable second place that we'll get to later. Then Kip attacks Orange. Miro chokes out Chuck with the Cobra Clutch, but then wakes him up. Miro cuts his first good promo in AEW. Says, I should be the champion, but you're wasting my time, and then hits Orange Cassidy with a brutal-looking super kick. My God, where has this Miro been? And is it too late? We're going to find out. But this certainly set up a number of things for the pay-per-view tonight. I'm leaving in, by the way, an hour and a half to go to Jacksonville. I'm very excited to go see this thing live. Match number 3, Penta against Azrael. Really good matchup here. It was a squash, but Penta and his brother in the Lucha Brothers, Rey Fenix, tend to give a lot in their matches, probably because they know they're going to ask a lot of the person that they're beating at the finish, and this was no exception. It hits the Destroyer, and then that great-looking arm snap move to get the pin. Great look, 3 check marks. We get an ad for Wrestling with the Week. Then we get one of the two exterior segments. We get a big swole promo. It's not great, but the information is conveyed, which is basically she's challenging the winner of Shida and Ro. But it was a very uneven promo where you're not quite sure what you're supposed to think about Big Swole. So in that sense, it wasn't successful, but I love Dark because they let the guys come out here and cut promos. For a while, they would have Sammy Guevara cut these promos, and they weren't great, but they were getting better. I hope they continue that tradition on Dark of letting the guys get a chance to speak who we normally don't get to hear from. Match number 4, John Skyler and Lance Archer. John Skyler does a great job of getting squashed by Lance Archer. That sounds patronizing, but it's not. He really takes his stuff well. They have a little story where John Skyler at one point kind of escapes from Lance Archer and looks like he's going to mount offense, but then gets cut off. And eventually takes the blackout from Lance Archer and gets pinned, 3 check marks. Then Jake comes out and talks. This is one of my favorite Jake Roberts promos that we've had so far. This very cognizant thing, this very focused thing of, we really hate Cody, and in this 6-person ladder match thing, Cody is who we're focusing on. And then Lance Archer snatches the mic from Jake, which I think is great, that that's part of their dynamic, and then Lance talks about the similar thing. Good shit. Match number 5, Angel Fashion and Fuego de Sol against Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. This is really Angel Fashion carrying the majority of this match, taking the drill claw and getting beat in quick fashion, as should happen, since Brian Cage and Ricky Starks are going into it. One of the, I'd say, feature matches for this thing. So great stuff, 3 check marks. Are we going to have another night with 3 check marks? Out of all of the Darks that they've had more than 70. 4 of them have gotten 3 check marks all night long. We'll see if this can be the 5th. Match number 6, Jake St. Patrick against Jack Evans. Really good exhibition for Jack Evans, who they're using in this sort of cool mercenary kind of way for Big Money Matt. I find that interesting. And a good use of Jack Evans at this stage. The commentators, who are a little more on tonight than they have been in the past, I gotta say, it's definitely better tonight, point out the fact that Jack Evans has been doing that 630 senton for 15 years. Man, what a physical marble Jack Evans is. He hits the 630 senton, they replay it a couple of times, it's a great look for him, and he wins in convincing fashion, 3 check marks. The Acclaimed. I love these weird Acclaimed videos and this ladder match rap where they sort of make fun of their other opponents. Perfectly serviceable, really entertaining. I know people get mad about the Acclaimed. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do and making themselves stand out in an incredibly crowded field of tag teams. So kudos. Match number 7. Austin and Colton Gunn, the Gun Club, against D3 and Mbadu. That 310 to Yuma finisher is shit. Backdrop into the neck breaker. They can't hit it clean most of the time. They need to come up with something simpler. Beyond that, the match was perfectly fine, but I can't give that 2nd check mark to this match because Austin and Colton did not look very good when their finisher looks like ass. So I'll give a 1st and 3rd check mark, but not the 2nd one. So we didn't 3 check mark all the way through, is what it is. Match number 8, Tesha Price against Thunder Rosa. This is the best that Tesha has looked, and I would say that she did the 2nd best job. Actually, maybe tied with somebody else later, but Tesha did a really good job. This is the best that she's looked. Sometimes her character work, like when she gets really happy, feels mildly out of place, but that just comes with continuing to wrestle and do your thing. My favorite move that Tesha did when she ran along the apron, dropped, and did that right hand to Thunder Rosa, that straight right hand. There's something money about that move, and she needs to continue to use it. Thunder Rosa, though, has proven how great she is, and that sit-down driver off of the Emerald, that thing looked like murder, and she got the pin. 3 check marks. Great job, both of you. Match number 9, Cameron Stewart and Ryzen against Bear Country. This whole thing was fine. Bear Country's clearly being elevated. Then they hit their elevated splash for the win, and then Bunny distracts them, and Butcher and Blade attack them from behind. And those chair shots from Butcher, mein Gott, really strong stuff. Yikes. Good little advancement there. Match number 10, Very Morales, who always does a sensational job. Boy, he's great. And LeBron Cazone against number 5 and number 10 of the Dark Order, Alan Angels and Vance, right? And 5 and 10 win with the clothesline to the back of the head, which is not the greatest looking move. I wish that somebody would come up with something else for Cody Vance, just being honest here. But I think this match was good enough to get the 3 check marks, don't get me wrong. But that finisher I don't think looks very good. The kip up by -1 was hilarious. What can I say? Match number 11, Layla Gray making her debut, and I want to see more of her. She was really great. She kept up with Tay Conti here, which is not easy, and -1 getting to be at ringside for Tay Conti. Boy, talk about living the dream. Yeesh. Tay Conti's a good-looking woman. And she wins with a hammerlock DDT. Very serviceable. Good job, Layla Gray. 3 check marks. And then finally, our main event, which would count as a competitive match, Chaos Project against Matt and Mike Seidel. I'll give this one 3 check marks. Chaos Project, especially Luther, sometimes gets lost in the weeds of doing the comedy stuff over the structure of the match. But they definitely do it here, and what can I say about Serpentico or John Cruz? They are the best to be able to work with, and they hit him with the double lightning spiral for the win, 3 check marks. So a very good AEW Dark, and stuff that gets advanced, or at least alluded to, for the pay-per-view tonight. So a home run. Great job, AEW Dark.